Hey everybody, Career Coach Randy here from the Work with Purpose podcast. I wanted to put in front of you a new intentionally free career resource that I think will help you in many different parts of your career journey, whether you are looking for a job right now or if you need a kind of a job to help get some income coming in for more stability's sake, need a get by kind of position, or maybe if you are just struggling for any number of things in your career. This resource is called the Career Quick Start, and I want to put it in front of you here. So the Career Quick Start, it's a free PDF download, and we're giving you 6 steps with that from our best resources here at our podcast to help you refresh or refocus your career. I do think it'll serve you and help you in a really intentional way. You can get your copy right now by visiting our website, www.com/career-quick-start. There's dashes between each word. Again, www.com/career-quick-start. Hey everybody, Career Coach Randy here on this month's episode of the Work with Purpose podcast. I'm excited to come alongside you and try to help you think about this career question. Should you take a job only for the money? You want to stick around for watching and listening this episode. I'm going to give you my answer to the question as if I was coaching you. And then also I'm going to talk through a couple of reasons of a couple of ideas to help you think about how to navigate this really nuanced question. Stick around. All that starts right now on this month's episode of the Work with Purpose podcast. Hi there, welcome to the Work with Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Career Coach Randy. Glad to be with you on this month's episode. If you are new to our podcast, we are a seasonal career development podcast. So that means we run from January to June during the year. And the goal of our podcast is we really want to help you go from career confused to be a purposeful person. We try to package all that, help you with that in about 20 to 30 minutes during our episodes. And usually you can expect a new episode from us on the 4th Friday of the month. So again, welcome to our podcast. Glad that you are watching and or listening to us either on your favorite podcast app or on our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for being here. So with this month's episode, I'm excited to talk with you about this month's topic of trying to answer a nuanced career question of should you take a job only for the money? I'm excited to walk you through that. So now let's get into this month's topic, trying to answer this question of should you take a job only for the money? All right, so now as we get started with this month's episode, let's get started with our topic of trying to answer the question of should you take a job only for the money? Now, to kind of start this topic, you should be able to see my slides here if you're watching us on the video version of our podcast. But I really wanted to start off this topic to share with you my perspective of, coming alongside adults for all different places and stages of the work aspect of their life, and how I would maybe coach someone through this. I want to share my perspective first, and then we'll kind of walk you through a couple of other ideas to maybe consider. But we'll start here. So how would I coach somebody to think about this career kind of question of should you take a job only for the money? So how I'd coach somebody is I probably would encourage you with a couple different things. Number one, I probably would encourage you thinking about the big picture of your entire life as a working professional, knowing that it's an aspect of your life and there are other important aspects as well. I would encourage you very likely and say no. I would encourage you to maybe not consider taking a job just for the money only. I'll talk about that in a second. So I would say no. The other thing I would say to you is that with a career question like this, should you take a job only for the money? I would tell you that this is a question that's got a lot of subtlety and it's got a lot of nuance with it. So my saying no initially is from a place of being aware that in a career question like this, there's a lot of various things that are a part of it. Meaning that with the subtlety and nuance, meaning that this should you take a job only for the money, the moving pieces that are part of a career question like this for someone, it's going to vary so much from one person to another. It's going to vary from person to person. It's also going to vary from situation to situation. If somebody is out of work and they're unemployed right now and they're trying to balance family or other responsibilities, there's a lot of how I might encourage someone to kind of navigate that, from a coaching kind of perspective. It would be different because I would probably ask a lot of follow-up questions to really understand what are all these different layers that are part of someone's entire life that might be building on top of each other, and it can really affect how they think and choose and decide in the work aspect of their life. So a lot of nuance with it. The other thing I wanted to be really clear about is that this is also one of these career development kinds of questions where the work aspect of your life really comes and meshes into the personal finances aspect of your life. And so me sharing all that with you but again, just with my podcast episodes, my goal is always to really try to come along beside you, really serve you and help you, again, go from being career confused to working as a purposeful person. And so with a career question like this, knowing that this is a question where it's the financial aspect of your life and the work aspect of your life come together. I do want to be clear and share that, hey, this is not any type of personal finance podcast. I'm not offering any kind of financial planning, any kind of financial advice. And I would always encourage you to consider searching out a fiduciary licensed financial professional near you to ask your specific questions to get more help on that based on your specific situation. So let's get back into my slides here. So again, really nuanced career question. That's what I hope you're starting to see so far. And initially, if I was coaching someone for this career question of, hey, should you take a job only for the money? I would probably encourage you to say no. I wouldn't encourage you to take that job only for the money, but I'd also would probably ask a lot more questions because this career kind of question has a lot of subtlety and nuance with it. So let's keep moving right along here. Now, why would I, in coaching someone, trying to serve and support them as best as I could to help them, work as their best selves in the best possible way? If I'm going to tell somebody or encourage somebody to think about this career question and say, hey, no, I would encourage you to not take the job only for the money, what would I encourage? Why would I tell somebody no? Well, I've got a couple of reasons. So let's go with the first reason here. The first reason I would share with somebody, hey, maybe not consider taking a job just for the money. I would say that very possibly on the other side of you taking a job only just for the money, I would say that there's not really a guarantee that in that job you will be working to develop and use your top skills and abilities to serve other people. It could be, it could happen, but I would say, very likely there's not a guarantee that it will happen. And the reason I shared that is that, let me go back here. Okay, so let's get into the first reason of why I would share that, no, don't take a job just for the money. Here's the first one. I would say to you that in a job just for the money as your focus is that there's really not a guarantee that you will be using or developing your top skills or your top abilities to serve and help someone else. There might be a chance that could happen, but I would say to you that it likely may not happen. So I just want to give you that first reason why I would say no on this career question. Because it's not a guarantee, right? And so the reason I share that is because if you've been with me on any number of our podcast episodes over the years, is that the way that I try to guide and coach people, even the naming for this podcast, the Work with Purpose podcast, working with purpose, I would tell you means that you are very, very clear for yourself on, hey, what are your top abilities? What are your top skills? How are you working to really develop those and grow and sharpen those skills, right? And not only for thinking about your own skills, your own abilities, just for you only, but you're taking those skills and abilities and trying to think about how can you serve and help others in your job or others around you through your job. So that's really what working with purpose is. And so I would say if it can be very tempting if you are taking a job only just for the money, that it could very much go against this kind of working with purpose idea and thinking about how are you growing in your abilities, you're growing in your awareness of those, but then also missing the opportunity of taking those skills and abilities and serving other people with those to kind of help you in the long term. So that's the first reason of why I might, in coaching someone, why I might encourage someone to say no to a job just for the money. Again, with a lot of nuance and subtlety with it. Reason number two, sometimes a job that's only just for the money, it may just be too good to be true. And so I want to put a couple examples here, at least a few examples to kind of get thinking about. So a job only for the money, what I was thinking about as I was planning for this episode for you all was thinking about, maybe you might be tempted to just click that easy apply button for a job you see on your social media feed, or maybe a job that you found online because maybe you've had a very, very long time of job searching. It's been weeks, it's been months, it's been a long time, or and you're frustrated. You've got a lot of all these other emotions and all these other feelings that are affecting your ability to make decisions in your job search. And so the too good to be true thing with this one is I always want to try to encourage you to be careful and just be discerning. And so another reason I would share with you to maybe consider saying no to a job just for the money is that you might end up applying or going into a job type of situation that's really too good to be true. And it could bring with it other types of issues, like maybe a job scam or other things like that. And so I just want to encourage you to be careful with some of those reasons and really consider those. So again, so far, those are a couple different reasons of why I would encourage someone to consider saying no to a job just for the money. And so as we kind of go along in our episode, I do want to share with you as well is that if you are finding this episode helpful, if you are finding our career content helpful, I do want to invite you to go deeper with our show notes. So our show notes are really great. For this one, it's going to be really important. In our show notes, I've got specialized resources that I'll talk about and links for those as well to kind of serve you and help you as well. I'll put reflection questions in our show notes as well to kind of help you apply the different things we're talking about in this episode. I've got a full transcript and a whole lot more in our show notes. So if you want to get the show notes for this episode and apply what you're learning into the work aspect of your life and your career, you can get that by visiting our website, WWPcast.com/S7E3. Again, WWPcast.com/S7E3. All right, welcome back to this month's episode of the Work with Purpose podcast. If you are just joining us, all in this episode, we're trying to tackle a really subtle, nuanced career question. The question of, should you take a job only for the money? So far we've talked about that I would coach somebody to consider saying no to just taking a job only for the money. I walked you through a couple of different reasons for why I might encourage someone to say no, don't take that job just for the money, but I don't want to leave you hanging there. And so now I wanted to put in front of you a few other ideas I would encourage you to consider instead. So if you're saying, hey, no, I don't want to take a job just for the money only, I'm willing to go there, willing to try that intentionally, I want to give you some other ideas to help you build a good foundation for doing that. Okay, so let's get into that right now. So you should be able to see my slides on the screen here if you're watching the video version of our show. So here are a few ideas. If you're saying, no, I don't want to take a job just for the money, really focused on that, what to do instead. Again, don't want to leave you hanging there. Here's what I would encourage you to consider doing instead. Idea number one, consider two things. Consider other job options and other choices to increase your income. Other job options and other choices to increase your income. So the big reason I wanted to share this one with you is that I realize in being tempted to take a job just only for the money. I wanted to also be sensitive in that you might be watching or listening to this right now, and you might be in a little bit of an emergency type of situation. Maybe you were terminated. Maybe you were laid off and you need something. You need income coming in. You need a career. You need a job option for the stability sake. And so with that, I would tell you that work options like that are something that I like to call a get by type of job. So it might not be your ideal longer term 5, 10, 15-year type of job. It might not be the job that is using your top skills, top abilities, but it's a job that someone goes into and takes on for that stability side of things, for getting income coming into their life to help support their family or things like that. So other job options, consider finding a get by type of job to help you work through this kind of emergency situation. If you're facing that to help you. If you look in the show notes for this episode, I'll put in a link to an entire podcast episode that I did all about the subtle things that are part of a get by job. So again, you want to check out the show notes with this episode. You can again visit our website, WWPcast.com, to get your copy of that. So besides making the choice to seek out a get-by type of job to help get income coming in for stability sake, if you're facing kind of that emergency situation and things like that, another option, another choice that you can consider, and this is again more the personal finance side coming together with the work aspect of your life as well. And so a couple of things I put here is that think about, if you're in that emergency situation and not wanting to just take any position for the money, right? And maybe not fall into a job scam or some other situations like that, you might consider, researching resources to make a budget as part of your the financial aspect of your life, or make a spending plan, right? So you're aware of, what income is normally coming into your life on a monthly basis? What are your bills and kind of regular expenses, ones that kind of come up different times during the year that you are aware of? So really getting organized that way. The second choice I put in here too is maybe look around your home or where you live. Can you sell extra items to get kind of quick income coming in? It might take a little longer if you're selling online, like through resources like social media sites or eBay or different things like that, or Craigslist, stuff like that. There are a lot of different opportunities for that. And so that might vary a lot, but that's something you could practically do. Being willing to, sell those extra items to get income coming in to really help you in the shorter term during that type of emergency type of situation for stability kinds of things. The other thing I thought of too is if you're in wanting to say no to just taking a job just for the money, as an example, and not get into any kind of seemingly negative career kind of situation, I thought of thinking about what skills you have already, and thinking about, could there be some way that you could kind of train others in that, or teach someone else how to do that, whether it's, in person and you're teaching piano lessons, or in person and you're teaching someone how to scrapbook, or some other skill or ability you have. Could you teach in person doing that some way? Could you teach somebody online via that way? Just really, really interesting, creative ideas that I would encourage you to maybe consider thinking about. And again, being purposeful, intentional, before just taking a job just for the money. So that's idea number one. Consider other job options and other choices that you have, instead of just taking a job just for the money. So let's go into idea number 2 here. Again, you should be able to see this on the screen. One thing I did want to jump back to is that for this first idea, again, show notes. If you look in the show notes for this episode, one thing I do want to let you know is, again, we're not a personal finance podcast, not offering any type of financial advice or things like that. But in the show notes for this episode, I'm going to put in there some personal finance resources that I have personally looked at, personal finance resources that I have personally used and found helpful, so that you can take a look at those and you can evaluate those as kind of tools in your toolbox. Again, when giving resources, I only want to work to share things that I personally believe in or I've personally looked at and use. So again, look in the show notes for this episode. You'll see a lot of personal finance related resources and kind of general things to help you if you're facing kind of situations like this. So that's the first idea. Let's get to idea number 2. So what to consider instead if you're saying no to a job just for the money? I would say to you, the second idea is, if you need this, really consider researching and tapping into your specific U.S. state's resources. So consider researching and tapping into your specific state's U.S. resources. Now, again, this is another one. Look in the show notes for this. I'm going to put in a really good resource that I'm aware of that can really help if you're in some type of crisis or emergency situation, or things like if you're looking at your state's things like unemployment benefits and detailed, nuanced things that'll vary so much. Look in the show notes for this episode. I'm going to put in resources on how you can kind of research those different options for where you live. Really, really helpful things that I've looked at before and that I've recommended for others as well. If you're in kind of an emergency type of situation and you're wanting to really not be tempted to just take a job just for the money or things like that, you knowing about and looking into your specific state's U.S. resources is helpful. Very, very often, every U.S. state will have usually a localized set of resources that might connect you to different government agencies or similar things like that. They might have their own processes and standards and applications and stuff like that. But a lot of times there are state-specific resources that are really designed to help somebody who might be facing, an emergency kind of situation, or really trying to think differently about the work aspect of their life, or get support, very closer to you, local to you support to really help you as well. So again, every U.S. state's going to vary on that, but that's the second idea I would encourage you as well, is instead of saying no to a job, instead of in saying no to a job just for the money, I would encourage you, hey, maybe also consider looking into what does your state have to offer, at least on a short-term kind of thing, to help you as you're searching for that next kind of intentional, purposeful position, right? To help you, again, stability-wise, right? Help you work through a situation like this. So that's idea number 2. And here's the third and final idea that I wanted to put in front of you with what to be doing or what to think about instead, how to change your approach in saying no to a job just for the money, what to do instead. So here's idea 3, take a longer term perspective. Take a longer term perspective. So this part's important because if you're choosing to think longer term, and what I mean by longer term is, probably between the next 1 to 2 to 3 years, and very longer, definitely longer than like the next 4 days, definitely longer than the next 1 week or 2 weeks, right? So in trying to make an intentional, purposeful career decisions, anytime you can get into, hey, how does this choice affect me for the next 5, 10, 15 years or so, or next 2 years, next 3 years, next 5 years? It's going to help you. I really do believe it'll help you make better decisions. And so with this very not as concrete idea of, hey, just take a longer term perspective that I'm sharing with you, I wanted to give you an example to kind of apply this, and I hope that you find this valuable. I'll say to you as well, for this example is, if you look in the show notes, that I'll put that full graphic in there so you can take a look through that as well to help you. So, in taking this idea of a longer term perspective to help you navigate this subtle career question of should you take a job only for the money, here's how I wanted to help you work through that from an example. So I want you to imagine. Think about, you might be in this type of situation where you're having to think about, hey, should I just take a job just for the money or different things like that? Think about it this way. Instead of being tempted to just take the next job you see online or this next thing just very, very immediately and embracing, that you might be facing a lot of risk with that or a job scam or it's a too good to be true kind of job. Think about what if you went about it and thinking for the next 1 to 2 years, you went about it and you were really trying to do these things. You were trying to sell extra stuff for money, get some income coming in. Let's say if you looked maybe local to where you live and you look to take on a get-by job, maybe 1 or 2 kind of part-time get-by jobs for stability's sake. Understanding that, hey, that get-by job might not be the next thing you do for the next 5 or 10 years, but for a short-term amount of time, it's going to bring stability for you and your family and help make ends meet to help you with that. So let's say you find a get-by job. What if you took that other step as well and you looked at your bank accounts and you looked at all of your financial areas of life and you committed to thinking about developing and using a budget, a spending plan to really be aware of, hey, what's coming in, what income is coming into your life, what are your bills, and kind of getting you balanced on that. Maybe you might see areas in your budget where you can adjust things, or maybe cut out a subscription service, cut out things that really are not necessary in this kind of shorter term situation. And let's say over that next 1 to 2 years, you did all those steps and you kind of worked through that. Maybe you didn't do it perfectly, but maybe you took some positive steps in that area to kind of help you get stability and during that kind of emergency type of situation, trying to be purposeful, trying to be thoughtful, trying to be intentional. If you work through those ideas and you work through those steps, I want to ask you, what do you think that would be like? How do you think you'd feel? What do you think you would have hope in the midst of that? What do you think your level of peace would be like? What would you think about you? What about if you took those steps and worked through that example? Do you think that would help you think differently about who you are as a person? Do you think it would help you think differently about what skills you have, what skills you want to develop, what skills you want to sharpen to be able to serve and help other people? I want to encourage you. I hope that you connect with this example because it's a really different approach to navigate through a very nuanced career question. And so again, I hope you find that example helpful to help you really apply at least a idea, a possible set of steps to kind of help you navigate a career situation like this that has a lot of nuance with it. So again, I hope you find that example valuable and practical and helpful. Again, you can look in the show notes for this episode. I'll put that kind of graphic in there so you can take a look through that. So why did I show you that example? Let's get back to the slides here and I'll walk you through it. So, again, from this idea, as well, let's say if you took those steps, I want to put some possible positives that could happen. So that thoughtful kind of approach, that short 1 to 2 year idea as a possible outcomes that might come of it. You might be able to build an emergency fund, right? So again, personal finance type of topic. So maybe a certain amount of money that is in your bank account to save for emergencies, save for problems that might happen and stuff like that. That can give you more stability during a very shaky, work season or time of your life where you're trying to find that next position or you're trying to be thoughtful, trying to be purposeful. Also, just that graphic that I showed you, think about it. It's more slow, more deliberate. It's very intentional, trying to be purposeful with things that are happening. Also understand it's a very slow, diligent approach, right? Thinking longer term, trying to be intentional of what you do first, what you do next. It's also, the reason I wanted to put that graphic there for you and walk you through it is because it's also really purposeful and not emotion-based. Because I understand in the other side of maybe facing a job situation like this, and maybe you've been job searching for a long time, you're not moving into interviews like you expected, there's a lot of feelings, and you're being tempted to just take any job, take a job just for the money. That's why I talked about the get by job idea. That's why I put resources like that in the show notes, is because it can be really easy to take the short, very emotion based path in a situation like this. And what I wouldn't want for you or for anyone else is for you to end up in, those two jobs that are too good to be true, like job scams or other things like that. I would always encourage you to consider, hey, what could that slow, thorough, purposeful approach be? But in balancing that with the practical stuff. So hope you found that helpful. Is, even in an episode like this, me sharing with you, if I was coaching you, I would encourage you, hey, consider thinking, no, don't take that job just for the money, but instead really embrace that slow, thorough kind of process to help you think through that as well. And so as we move right along in this episode, I do want to share with you as well. I realize I can't finish this topic without sharing you this. I realize I've given you a lot of information. One of the last things I want to tell you is, at the end of the day, what you do with this information, the final choices you make, it's definitely and fully yours. So I can share with you, hey, I'd encourage you, hey, think about that slow, thorough kind of process for what that could look like, for how you navigate a situation like this. The final choice is yours. And so, again, I hope you found these ideas and these resources helpful to help you navigate this really, really nuanced career kind of question, which it's going to vary so much from one person to another and from one situation to another. So again, I hope you found this episode helpful as well. If you might be in an emergency kind of career situation, or maybe you're facing some other type of career kind of question that we didn't talk about in this episode, I do want to put in front of you a really a new and a free career resource that I put together for you to help meet you where you are, and I think it'll help you work through intentional steps to help you refresh or refocus your career. And that resource is our Career Quick Start. So again, it's the Career Quick Start. It's 6 steps to help you refresh or refocus your career. It's a free PDF download. You can get that by visiting our website, WWPcast.com/career-quick-start. There's dashes between each word. Again, visit our website, WWPcast.com/career-quick-start. When you go there, it'll walk you through how to get that free PDF using it's the 6 different steps to help you refresh or refocus your career. I believe that'll serve you and encourage you and help you. And you can, that's coming from using a lot of our best resources here from our podcast to really help you and do that. So again, visit our website, www.pcast.com/career-quick-start, and get your copy of the Career Quick Start today. Beyond that, as we kind of move along in this episode, I want to share with you as well, I want to invite you to do 2 quick things. If you are finding our podcast episode, our content helpful, encouraging, and practical, I want to invite you to do 2 quick things. Number 1, I want to invite you to consider subscribing or following us on your favorite podcast app, and also consider subscribing and following us on our YouTube channel. And then also the second thing is, I would love it if you would leave us a rating or a positive review on your favorite podcast platform where you're connecting with us. The reason I walked you through, and I would ask you to do those 2 different things, is that when you follow us, when you leave us a rating or a review, where you subscribe to our YouTube channel, different things like that, when you do that, it puts our career content in front of new people, and that gives us more chances to serve and help other people. So again, I would encourage you to do those two quick things. If you find this helpful, follow us, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, follow us in your favorite podcast app, and consider leaving us a rating or a positive review. If you're getting stuck on that, you can visit our website, www.pcast.com/feedback. There's different resources there to kind of help you to do that if you need kind of step-by-step kinds of things. But again, thanks so much for considering to leaving a rating, review, and following us on our YouTube channel or in your favorite podcast app. All right. So again, as we're wrapping up this episode, like we normally do, at the very end, I'm going to walk you through this one key idea, one takeaway to help you apply what we talked about in this month's episode. And this is a segment that we call the purposeful point. So now let's get into it. This month's purposeful point. All right, so here's this month's purposeful point. Again, that one key idea, one takeaway to help you apply what we talked about in this episode. And here it is, as I put it on the screen for you here. Again, this is kind of a unique one. So for this month's purposeful point, I want to encourage you a couple ideas. Number one, as we talked about, consider saying no to not just taking a job just for the money. So consider saying no to a question like that. I shared with you some ideas, some ways to approach it or ways to think about it instead. And then the other idea is I want to encourage you with a nuanced career question like this, really go for and use careful thought and planning to consider, that graphic that I shared with you, that possible slow intentional process that I walked you through as this kind of career question. It's very nuanced, very subtle. It's going to vary so much from each situation. And really, as you're using that careful thoughting and planning, just the final decisions you make are yours. And so I hope that you found this episode helpful as a way to help you think about this subtle, nuanced career question and help you think about what could you do? What could be possible based on your situation. So again, that's our purposeful point for this month as we, and that wraps up this month's episode as we get to the end of it here. So with all that, I want to say thank you so much for watching and for listening to this month's podcast episode. And again, as I shared with you earlier, if you found our content helpful, I do want to invite you to quick things again. If you find it helpful, consider leaving us a rating or a positive review on your favorite podcast app. That helps us a lot. Or consider, if you're watching us on the YouTube version of our show, consider subscribing to us on our YouTube channel, hitting the thumbs up button, notifications, and all that other stuff. We'd love to have you do that because when you do all those, it puts our intentionally free career content in front of new people, more chances to serve and help other people. And so again, that brings us to the end of this month's episode of the Work with Purpose podcast. It's been great to be with you this month. Thanks so much for watching and for listening to this month's episode, wherever you are connecting with us. And so until our next month's episode, again, I'm Career Coach Randy. And as we wrap up here, I want to encourage you with two quick things. Number one, you've been made with purpose, so work with purpose. And then number two is this: the best work that you can ever do is to use your top skills and your top abilities to serve and help someone else, and to do all that for the glory of Jesus Christ. I'll see you next time.